Hello and welcome back to the news video, and in this video we will be doing the news for this week, so let's dive in. With the first story being probably one of the more well-known stories for this week, that ITA Airways or ITA Airways will be joining the Lufthansa Group. The EU regulators have now approved the stake of 41% that Lufthansa Group will acquire of ITA Airways, but will plan to take over the remaining 59% at some point in 2025. Now, it did take a little bit of time for Lufthansa Group to acquire ITA Airways, and one of the main reasons is to do with competition within Europe. So the airline has to operate a 2-hour time, layover time at airports. So if you were going from Rome to Paris and then connecting on to, let's say, New York, that could be a 4-hour wait, which wouldn't be a little bit over for the intended to by 2 hours, so they would need to relook at their scheduling for their Rome to Paris service if you were connecting on to an Air France flight. So that was one of the main reasons, and also they're joining one of the biggest airline groups in the world, this being Lufthansa Group, who own Swiss, Austrian, Eurowings and Brussels Airlines as well. So that's probably also another reason for the reason why it did take a little bit of time for them to be able to join the Lufthansa Group. And now moving on to the Airbus A321XLR, as they continue to inch closer and closer to the launch date of their first A321XLR to its launch customer. This was being with a new production line in Hamburg, Germany. And this will help them in the aid to supply more A321XLRs to customers. And what is set to happen in this production line is the fuel installation and fuselage is what's meant to happen in these parts of the new production line. Now, Hall 246 could necessarily give you a little bit of a nostalgia moment, as this is where the A380s were originally built in Hamburg, and when Airbus decided to end production of the Airbus A380 in 2021, they decided a lot of the A380 space to where it was built, because it was such a vast area, they would use for the A320neo family, and this hall that is in Hamburg has been the one to produce the A321XLR. And we have seen this down in Toulouse, back in France, where they're headquartered, as this is just to help and sustain the massive demand for this family. So definitely exciting news for Airbus. And now moving on to the next topic of the video, this being with United, and of course, as you may have heard, that a United Boeing 757 lost a tyre after takeoff from LAX. And the aircraft involved was an almost 30-year-old Boeing 757-200 bound for Denver. It did arrive in Denver safely. Now, this did happen on the 8th of July, which was practically last week, but I'll cover it since it came out. The news broke on the day I released the video, but I will talk about it as it was performing UA001 with a departure time of 7 AM, and it arrived into Denver at 10:28 AM with nobody hurt on board. And a statement has been given about finding the wheel, and the statement reads, "The wheel has been recovered in Los Angeles and we are investigating what caused this event." Now, bearing in mind this is not the first time this has happened to United this year, as a similar thing, or pretty much identical thing, happened to a Boeing 777, and now they might have to look into United's maintenance history and if there could be many more planes that could fall under this fault. And moving on to the next topic, and the next topic is with Alaska Airlines. And Alaska Airlines says that it will not be returning the 737 MAX 9 that was involved in the door blowout incident at the start of the year that caused Boeing their hellish year. It will not be re-entering service, and the aircraft has been returned back to Boeing, and the aircraft that will be filling its shoes is set to be a Boeing 737 MAX 10. Now, it's unknown to us if they will be paying full price or get a discount, or if they'll get the entire plane free from Boeing. Now, the registration has not been changed yet, but people on Reddit have been making some pretty remarkable comments on what the new registration could be, with some saying it could be November Oscar Delta Oscar Romeo, or November Oscar Bravo Oscar Lima Tango. But I'm sure this will probably not be the true registrations of the aircraft. So it'd be nice to know what you think about this, so do let me know in the comments. And now we move on to Boeing, and it's not good news. Now, this not so good news is involved with their court hearing that they'll be involved with about their Ethiopian MAX crash and their Lion Air MAX crash, which were in 2018 and 2019 respectively. Now, for us in the aviation industry, this is a really big moment. Now, these charges are criminal charges after the prosecution agreement in 2021, which were again in relation to the 737 MAX crashes that caused the mass grounding. And the US government says that this violation began in January 2024 when the Alaska door plug blowout did occur in January. And as part of the guilty plea that was established earlier, they will need to pay over 200 million US dollars. But do keep in mind that more could be added on top of this. And I think this is only making Boeing's year even worse with this court hearing. And moving on to Jet2, and Jet2 have announced that they will be bringing forward their Bournemouth base from April 1st, 2025 to the 4th of February 2025. Now, I do not know why Jet2 have decided to bring this forward. Now, if you're unfamiliar with the Bournemouth base, it was announced not long after they started service from Liverpool back in March, but this base will be a 2-aircraft base, and the airline will fly to destinations like Madeira, Fuerteventura, Alicante, Gran Canaria, Palma de Mallorca, Rhodes, Zakynthos, Menorca, Faro and Gran Canaria, to name a few. And with that, let us end the news for this week, so I hope you did enjoy, and I'll see you on the next video. Bye!